From my favorite childhood book, Milton the Early Riser, to a statue we had in our home, Rodin's Thinker, to my favorite childhood movie, The Never-Ending Story. These were all intentionally put in place for this very moment. You who have ears, you will hear, and you who have eyes will see. If you want truth, I have answers for you. But how far down the rabbit hole are you willing to go with me?
Unbiased on the fence.
The pinnacle of human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane. Well, it's no accident you're watching this video. If you watched my video about Christianity, you may have noticed the part about free will in it. If you were in the Hunger Games and they made it like optional, would you do it? I mean, isn't that what free will is about? If we've actually got free will, I don't want to play. This is, if you went in, you agreed to do something or not, and you get there and they've gone past the line of what you're willing or wanting to do. Like maybe you thought it was a baseball game, and you get there and it's like some kind of gladiator event where you're going to have to go chop somebody's head off. You're like, whoa, I don't think I want to play. If I've got free will, I choose not to play. Like a lot of things, I got them backwards. Instead of trying to make religion work with free will, I was trying to make free will work with religion. And when they didn't jive together, I assumed that free will was baloney. But it's actually the other way around. I just discovered that free will is the key to unlocking the truth. And you know what? No religion offers free will. You have to give up your free will to join a religion. You have to do like Jesus and go directly to the source. And I'm about to prove that to you right now. Now, the first thing I want to bring up is Milton the Early Riser. I would have my mom read this book to me so many times, and it's about this little panda, biracial panda, where, it's black and white. I was black and white. But the story goes, children and their parents will appreciate the antics of Milton, a young panda who is up long before his friends and family, and who exhausts himself in his efforts to wake everyone else. Irony? Another thing is Rodin's Thinker statue. Me and my mom were at a garage sale. I saw the statue there. Can't remember how much it was. Asked her for it for some reason. It must not have been much because she gave it to me, and I remember holding it on the drive home, setting it on the desk. I remember over the years drawing it several times, having difficulty getting the hand to the fist to the forehead to look right. Lots of memories. And then guess what? One of my favorite shows as a kid, which was Mr. Wizard's World, in the opening sequence had Rodin's Thinker statue right there, which changed, of course, now. But when I was a kid, this was to the forehead. 100% certain about that. So, with those things in place, I moved into The Never-Ending Story. But before I move to that, I want to read an excerpt from Dolores Cannon's book I just got, which really blew my mind. Now, I don't want to, I'll just kind of set the stage. You've probably come across the video. There's a Mandela Effect video out there that has Dolores Cannon explaining all of these things that's supposed to happen. Well, the video is from like 2010, I believe, so it was before any of this Mandela Effect stuff was even mentioned. And they talk about changes to the body. I was blown away when I watched it, and I'll put a link in the description below. If you haven't seen it, you can go watch it. But that inspired me to get her books. Dolores Cannon was a hypnotherapist that would do past life regression with people, which as a Christian, I wasn't hearing any of that past life regression stuff. To me, the way I was raised, it was just evil. There was no reincarnation. Even though the Bible in several places, I believe, actually supports the idea of reincarnation. And I will put those scriptures below if you want to look into that. This is a lot to cover here, so I'll just move right into it. The excerpt of the book, it's called The Three Waves. I believe it was one of her newest books, released in 2011. In this particular clip, she is hypnotizing a guy. See if I can remember his name here. It comes from chapter 23, The Best Agenda for Earth. And it's she was hypnotizing a guy named Randy that worked at home on his computer. And he was into metaphysics and all sorts of things. But he felt like there was a purpose for him on Earth, and he just hadn't got around to it. And so he came to her to get information. So she puts him under, and immediately he starts speaking about seeing these two UFO crafts with two different factions that are discussing how to help humankind, right? Now, they're on the same page as far as wanting to help us, but free will does not allow them to do too much. Now, one of the factions wants to just sit by, let us evolve at the speed we evolve, while they add some sort of frequencies to help us along, but really they are real standoffish. They don't want to do anything. But there's another group that wants to help us out, and this group wants to take it to the very edge of violating our free will without violating our free will. So they're a little bit more, what's the word for it, fanatical about helping us out, and a little impatient, but this is how the reading goes. There's a faction that wants to more directly influence. So in a broad sense, that could mean they are here by interfering with the other group. That's one level. And they might influence by making material changes in this dimensional reality. Observable changes. This is the Mandela Effect. This came out in 2011. That's exactly what it's saying. So the one group wants to make changes to our reality, right? And that's about as far as they can go. So without, violating free will. So one faction thinks it would be more beneficial. The other group is more passive. So there's one group that feels like they didn't want to do that. Well, evidently, with the Mandela Effect, we see that, I guess they decided to go ahead and make those changes to help us along. So the Mandela Effect is these higher beings that's just trying to help us out without trying to interfere with our free will. Now, if they're afraid they're going to interfere with our free will from doing something as small as that, material changes to our reality, think about what every religion does. And then really think about if free will is truly this law that can't be broken, or there's consequences, because there's free will to break the free will, of course. So they're not wanting to break their free will, or break our free will by exercising their free will. But they want to get as close as they can without having to suffer the consequences of interfering, taking away our free will by doing too much. But they're wanting to do as much as they can without doing too much. And when I thought about that, it made me realize there's not a religion that doesn't really encroach on our free will, because it's not free will to give someone an ultimatum, follow me or you're going to burn in hell. That's not free will. Now, I thought free will was baloney, but now I realize free will is a very serious thing. Free will is what we have that we need to exercise, and we don't realize we have it. Now, let me go on to read what they say about this. It's just a matter of intervention, or maybe not intervention. It's the matter of getting back to the parenting thing. When do you guide, or how do you guide? And not to interfere or intervene. So that's the fine line between interfering and intervention, or something like that. They just aren't sure if the intervention, they're interfering, or whatever other direct action the other group is considering is without consequence. So they want to help out, but they're wondering if, I guess, these Mandela Effect changes or some of their other ideas they got going on is a little bit too much. Let's see. So she asked Dolores Cannon asked the guy, does this mean they want them to evolve positively and away from negativity? Is that the purpose? And the answer was, I'm not sure they see it that way. I think they see it as evolving to be aware of their free will and free choice. So I guess the one group that wants direct action is a little impatient. Sounds like it. The group that is more of the observer or less direct influence respect the level of consciousness here. And there's a bit of a catch-22. And it's as if both consciousness isn't aware of free will, and it doesn't know that it has a choice, and it's difficult for it to move forward. So how do you introduce that there's the possibility of free will without affecting their free will? In other words, if they do not naturally evolve to the state of awareness where they recognize free will, then that could be potentially like it never happened. So it has to happen within their collective consciousness through evolution. She goes and asks, then they can introduce new ideas into the collective consciousness of the human race? Answer, yes, but it's already there. It's how to get people to look at it, how to get people to be aware of it. Right now, people are just looking at their feet. They can't see anything but their toes, yet all of the universe's knowledge and gifts are right there. We can make these changes. They don't have any of the tools at a conscious level of how to get that information. So this information is all here, we just don't know. And it all involves free will. That's what led me to realize as soon as you join in with any group or religion that has some sort of worldview you're subscribing to, you're giving up your free will to do that. Now, this isn't saying anything against Jesus. This is actually trying to explain why Jesus was actually calling the religious people of his time hypocrites. Because this all makes so much sense now. That's why Jesus spoke in parables. So maybe that's the healing person that creates the idea and spreads it around so that it instills a human consciousness-based evolution. So once it gets to you and I, we can spread the information around freely because people can accept it or reject it. That way it's not going against free will. Correct. The trick is to get other people to listen. That would be the human being's responsibility or task, is how they answer. So the thing would be to get momentum or inertia, to get critical mass, and the critical mass can adjust the seeds of collective consciousness. So all we lack is simply knowing and acting. All we lack is our intention to act upon our free will, to say, I'm going to have control over my free will. I'm going to control all the bad things that, we gripe about chemtrails, we gripe about the cabal, we gripe about all these things, and all the while the answer was within us. All we have to do is realize we have the power to make the change within ourselves. Now, how do we do that? So that's when I was reading this part here and I was thinking, man, that reminds me of the never-ending story. The never-ending story. This was just so mind-blowing to me. Okay, if you haven't watched the other videos of mine about the right and the left brain, how we need to get back to the right brain. The right brain is the dreamy, the fantasy, the creative, God-like mind. The right brain is what connects us all. The right brain is the collective consciousness, right? Now this is amazing. Let's watch this clip because this totally blew my mind. And to come from my favorite childhood movie, The Never-Ending Story, I actually rented it. I didn't know what to expect, but I'm going to put this right-left brain on the screen here, and I'm going to flash it just so I don't have to interrupt the video. And just to take note of the fact that they're talking about the right brain. They're talking about the left brain in these different parts. Here's the clip.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Okay, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this. Pretty much the main gist of this is at the end of the movie, but I think for most people you've all seen it already. This is my own recording, so it doesn't get blocked by Warner Brothers. The original version was more emotional, and it wasn't my intention for this to be so funny, but at least it's entertaining. Enjoy. So this boy, Atreyu, is on this mission to stop the nothing in the land of Fantasia. He's had this wolf type character after him, and it never has caught up with him, but now he's looking around at this place here, and he sees the different paintings on the wall representing the different time periods of his journey, where he lost his horse, Artex. Now he's face to face with his enemy, who wanted to stop him from stopping the nothing. Now the nothing is sweeping across the land and just leaving nothing in its wake, basically, just taking away everything.
If you come any closer, I'll rip you to shreds.
Who are you?
I am Gamork. And you, whoever you are, can have the honor of being my last victim.
I will not die easily. I am a warrior.
Ha! Brave warrior. Then fight the nothing.
I can't get beyond the boundaries of Fantasia.
Ha ha ha.
What's so funny?
Fantasia has no boundaries. Ha ha ha. Fear is just an illusion.
That's not true. You're lying.
Foolish boy. Don't you know anything about Fantasia? It's the world of human fantasy. Every part, every creature of it is a piece of the dreams and hopes of mankind. Therefore, it's just an illusion. It has no boundaries.
But why is Fantasia dying then?
Because people have begun to lose their hopes and forget their dreams, so the nothing grows stronger.
What is the nothing?
It's the emptiness that's left. It's like a despair destroying this world, and I have been trying to help it.
But why?
Because people who have no hopes are easy to control, and whoever has the control has the power.
Who are you really?
I am the servant of the power behind the nothing. I was sent to kill the only one who could have stopped the nothing. I lost him in the swamps of sadness. His name was Atreyu.
If we're about to die anyway, I'd rather die fighting. Come for me, Gamork. I am Atreyu.
Unbiased commentary.
Atreyu, why do you look so sad?
I have felled you, Empress.
No, you haven't. You brought him with you.
Who?
The Earthling child. The one who can save us all.
You knew about him?
Of course. I knew everything.
My horse died. I nearly drowned. I barely got away from the nothing. For what? To find out what you already knew?
It was the only way to contact an Earthling.
I didn't contact one.
Yes, you did. He had suffered with you. He went through everything you went through. Now he has come here with you. He is very close, listening to every word we say.
What? Where is he? Why doesn't he arrive?
He doesn't realize he's already a part of the never-ending story.
The never-ending story? What's that?
Just as he shares your adventures, others are sharing his. They were with him when he hid from the boys in the bookstore.
But that's impossible.
They were with him when he took the book with the orange symbol on the cover, in which he's reading his own story right now.
I can't believe it. They can't be talking about me. What if he doesn't appear?
Then our world will disappear, and so will I.
How could he let this happen?
He doesn't understand. He has the power to stop it. He can't imagine one boy could be that important.
Is it really me? Does he know what to do? What do I do?
He has to give me a new name. He's already chosen it. He just has to call it out.
It's only a story. It's not real. No! Betrayal!
Bastion. Why don't you do what you dream, Bastion?
I have to keep my feet on the ground.
Call my name. Bastion, please. Save us.
All right. I will do what I dream. Why is it so dark?
In the beginning, it is always dark.
What is that?
One grain of sand. It is all that remains of my vast empire.
Fantasia has totally disappeared?
Yes,
And everything has been in vain?
no, it hasn't. Fantasia can arise anew from your dreams and wishes, Bastion.
How?
Open your hand. What are you going to wish for?
I don't know.
Then there will be no more Fantasia anymore.
How many wishes do I get?
As many as you want. The more wishes you make, the more magnificent Fantasia will become.
Really?
Try it.
then my first wish is... Yeah! Wow, Cora, it's even more beautiful than I thought. Valcor, it's wonderful.
I told you I was going far down the rabbit hole on this one. And, wow. I have nothing else to add to that. Please like, share, and subscribe. It's no accident that you came across this video. It's all of our duties now to get the word out that we have the power to make the change. And just like in the story, the person watching the movie was a part of the boy reading the book, and he was a part of the story within the book. The never-ending story. There's people outside watching us right now in our story. It's mind-blowing. See you next time.